Hey everybody, it is John the Comic Guy, and today I wanted to talk about a title that I discovered through buying the $1,000 collection from Ed. So stay tuned because I want to talk about the title called Echo of Future Past. Next. Okay, everybody, so generally speaking, when you buy collections, it is like you're waking up Christmas morning, you're flipping through books, and sometimes you discover titles that you either never saw before or you've been looking for, and it just incidentally appears in a collection. And that happens often. Well, with the collection that I purchased from Ed for $1,000, if you haven't seen that video, click on the link above and you'll see my flip throughs, right? I did multiple videos on the various flip throughs. I had so many books in there. But one of the titles I got was brand new to me. It was from one of those lesser known publishers, Continuity Comics, right? And I think Continuity had some hero books, but they also published a comic in 1984 called, and it was an anthology series called Echo of Future Past. Echo of Future Past was actually kind of led up by Neal Adams. And this is, in fact, a painted cover by Neal Adams. This might have been one of his leftover paintings or republished, but it's beautiful. But anyway, I'm going to get to that. What I think is really cool is, as you know, I kind of like and enjoy anthology titles. One of them is Twisted Tales, right? This one is one of my favorites. If you haven't seen this video, I kind of shared this last year with my celebration with Ryan Soupy for Halloween books. I love it, right? Anthology titles are cool. What I find interesting about Echoes of Future Past is apparently this was to be a direct competitor with the magazine Heavy Metal, with the magazine Epic Illustrated. I used to love those magazines, but as I got older, I start getting OCD, and I kind of like. Did I just kind of lead you to believe that when I was younger I didn't have OCD? That was a blatant lie. I've always had OCD, but the reason as I get older I start narrowing down my collection is because I like the comic book format rather than the magazine, right? Some people are cool with everything. I do have Eries and Creepies, and I do have some magazines, but if I were to select my preferred format, obviously it's going to be comic books. So Echoes of Future Past was really meant to compete in the anthology series with the Heavy Metal, with the Epic Illustrateds. But Neal Adams, I think, did an amazing job with this particular title. What I think is so cool is he has some really big names in here. So, for example, this has the first appearance of Bucky O'Hare, and I think it had a cartoon. Bucky O'Hare ultimately had its own spin-off title from Continuity Comics, and it might have had other publishers as well, but I just saw that the Continuity comic version of it, and you can check out the cover on here. But that was the Bucky O'Hare storyline was written by Larry Hama and drawn by Michael Golden. And Michael Golden actually has quite an impressive body of work. He's done things for Mr. Miracle, the Batman family, the Micronauts, the Nam, Howard the Duck, Doctor Strange. He's done covers. So his body of work is impressive. But I got to tell you, this funny animal art with Bucky O'Hare, really impressive. Really impressive. Let me kind of go through some of these books. I think it's beautiful. Here's issue number 2 from Echo of Future Past. Before I bought this collection, I was unaware that this title even existed, right? I was not much of a Continuity Comics collector, right? And it's not like I was trying to not buy them. I just never saw any kind of titles from Continuity Comics that I even cared about. But this one was an attention getter. As I was pressing them, I was realizing how beautiful these books are. So that was issue number 2. Here's issue number 3. This obviously has a Michael Golden cover, right? Because that's Bucky O'Hare. What I thought was amazing is with the Bucky O'Hare storylines, they actually made a trade paperback, and they used this as the cover for the trade paperback. And I could understand it. Holy smokes, it's beautiful. Really beautiful stuff. So that was issue number 3. Issue number 4. Now, some of these are a little lower grade, right? This is probably like a 4.5 or something. This actually has a little water damage, water stain, not damage, but water stains on there. But still, it presents pretty darn well. You might be able to see a little bit of the water stain on the cover, and it kind of goes through. But the book itself is still in decent shape. I pressed it, and it looks good, but it is water stained. Right, this really does remind me a lot of like the Twisted Tales anthology books. Really cool stuff. Echo. This is actually issue number 7. Really nice. So, again, I wanted to kind of share this because I think this is such a great surprise when you're picking up books, incidentally, as a part of a collection. This for me was a great find. I didn't actually show this in my flip through and the books that I was keeping from that $1,000 collection because at the time I didn't realize it. These books all had to be pressed. I put them away. It wasn't until I actually had it in my hand and started flipping through it and really appreciating the art. So anyway, I would have to say I give 2 thumbs up to this. If you get a chance to see and find this title, it probably is not too expensive. I think issue number 1 goes for like $20 or so, but the rest of them you could probably get at a reasonable price. You might want to check out Echoes of Futurepast. And if you like this content, I would ask you to please hit the like button. Please feel free to share this with anybody you think might be interested in these kind of comic books. This is kind of in the fantasy and the horror realm, but hey, it's getting close to Halloween, right? So I think it's apropos. And obviously, please feel free to make comments. Tell me if you have these books. What do you think of this title? Have you ever heard of it? I don't know where. I must have been hiding under a rock, but I'm so glad I discovered it now. I think it has 9 issues, so it really is not a lot of issues in the series. So I have 4 more to pick up if I were to ever come across them. And finally, I would encourage you to please hit that subscribe button. So everybody, I thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk to you soon.